Right. All right. Welcome, devotees Nahushi Joshi and Amritya Pandey. Okay. All right, so let's get going. So we'd like to welcome all our viewers online, on Facebook, on YouTube, and
You disabled my video?
yeah, you were eating, so you can't eat on the program. So I would like to welcome all our devotees online, on YouTube, on Facebook. Okay.
You can enable my video now.
Okay. Let's get going here. Rupa Manjari Prabhu, welcome to the Zoom program.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to load up Srila Prabhupada's Kirtan. The album Srila Prabhupada. Okay, here.
Can you enable my video?
I can see you now.
Ramachandra.
Yeah, we can see you now.
Yeah, you can see me, but can you enable my? Oh, yeah, there's the video. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm only going by what it says.
Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. So let me get situated here. We're ready to rock and roll. Where's...
Rock and roll. That sounds like Bobby Heaver.
Yeah, I know. We got to be ready to rock and roll. Okay, here we go. This is Srila Prabhupada's The Happening album, recorded in 1966. We're going to hear about 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes is good.
Yeah, and then after that, we'll go to our meeting program.
Yes.
Ishtagoshi meeting. Here we go.
You can start with the Hare Krishna mantra, or you can start with Vandeham, whichever you prefer.
Sri Juta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
All right, Prabhus. I have a hard time
Right.
stopping it. I didn't want to stop it, but
Well, we should only pay enough so that people understand the fact that we are listening to Prabhupada as he is at a time before anybody modified his chanting. You know, people just heard Prabhupada chant, then they chanted in response. And that's the process. And did they chant perfectly in response? No, but did they chant? Did Prabhupada chant perfectly? Yes, because he was not being interfered with by crazy mridanga beats, by crazy kirtan approaches and stuff like that. It was pure Prabhupada's pure Krishna Loka kirtan.
Jai, would like to welcome Vinay Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Welcome back.
Hi, Vinayak Prabhu.
No, it's not Vinayak, it's Vinay Prabhu. Not Vinayak, Vinay.
Oh, Vinay. Well, Haribol.
He's a devotee advocate who joined last time. So he's joined numerous times before. So he's and then Nahusha Joshi Prabhu and Amrita Pandey. Can you guys introduce yourself a little bit on audio? That'll be nice.
Sure, I can go first.
Sure.
Yeah, my
Yes,
name is
Prabhu.
Danush. I'm actually initiated. My name is Narottam Nitay Das. I'm recently initiated. And and I'm happy to be part of this call. I saw a part of this last call on YouTube, and I was happy that Srila Prabhupada's disciples are sharing their experiences and their realizations and different facts and opinions on various matters. And I'm happy to be here because obviously as I'm relatively younger. I'm 38, and being out, having this opportunity to hear from those devotees who have served and have been with Srila Prabhupada at the early days of the movement is really special. So just wanted to express my gratitude for that. And you can't really express yourself different opinions out in the open for various reasons.
Especially when
So
you're
I'm happy to-
initiated. Yeah, especially when you're initiated by one of these so-called gurus. So who are you by chance initiated by, if you want to
Yeah,
say?
I don't want to reveal my guru's name, but it's from the STS.
What?
Yeah, it's from the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat month.
Oh, okay, okay. I see. I
Yeah,
see.
but of course, I mean, I don't without getting too much into the details. Srila Prabhupada later on did mention that Srila Maharaj was his eternal Shiksha Guru, and that further on maybe devotees can approach him. So but we accept Srila Prabhupada as the Acharya. So I just wanted to put that out there. Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay. Jai. All right. So, very nice. So, are you in India or are you in America?
I'm in America.
Oh, you're in the USA. Okay. What part of America?
In Detroit area.
Oh, Detroit. Okay. All right. So, welcome, Prabhu. Thanks for joining. Yeah, you're from.
Sure.
Yeah, you're a spirit soul. So all spirit souls are welcome here.
Hare Krishna.
So, you have any questions or any comments you'd like to make? I mean, we discuss very heavy things, if you want to call it here. Well, we go back in time. 1966, and then Prabhupada made various documents for the continuation of ISKCON, and certain things that have been neglected or not followed. So the ISKCON movement, which is right now, is not really what Prabhupada had envisioned. So
Yeah, are you opening up some questions for me to
yes,
ask?
sure, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Though I know that that's there. I haven't done a thorough study on that, but I do agree that more than just the principle that a spiritual master's instructions should be followed by the disciples. And we've seen, historically speaking, I guess, when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also left the planet, there was some trouble and difficulty. And so we've also see, I guess we could say we've seen that from Srila Prabhupada. So, but I'm happy to have these discussions and calls because it affects not just us, but it affects the whole world. And
Yes.
the gravity of the situation
Yes.
is if we have everything in alignment with our spiritual masters want, then it can really make a big difference for us, and then trickle down to everyone, and so the mercy will reach everyone. So that's a big part of it, and the open-mindedness of devotees to discuss these things is really important. And another thing I wanted to state is, I'm originally from Maharashtra, so growing up, I wasn't like a Hare Krishna devotee, but there's this certain part of I guess post Mahaprabhu Maharashtrian culture that at least tried to implement some type of a Varnashram Dharma system.
Hmm.
And there might not have been perfectly implemented, or some bias with the caste system might have been there, but the fact that the attempt was made, I feel that needs to be studied, and then using the teachings from Srila Prabhupada to then do it in a better and more efficient fashion for the coming generations. As one of the things Srila Prabhupada wanted to establish was Varnashram, especially given the times we live in, and the I guess, the so-called collapse of the Western civilization based on oil industry, etc. So if that is the impending doom for that type of living is coming, it and even for us, and that's a very big topic. It's a very tall order to accomplish. But I guess if we start diligently working on it and using our intelligence, Shastra and Srila Prabhupada's instructions, we can help establish that and help make a space for devotees in the future. That's what I wanted to say.
Joy.
So that's very nice that you shared that about Varnashram and what Prabhupada wanted. And let me just ask you a question. You read Prabhupada's books when you were in your 20s, or just recently you learned about Krishna consciousness? You said, I mean, you grew up in India, so you know about Krishna. But a lot of people
Yeah.
who grow up in India, they have a misunderstanding who is Krishna, or they think he's some sort of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The education system, the secular education system, has really done damage. But no, I know about Krishna. I did not necessarily understand he was the supreme personality of Godhead, but until later on, when I came in contact with devotees officially, like when I was 25, 26, around 2008, and then that's after that I started going to various programs. It was this year that I got my initiation. So until then, I was reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and then, I understood that, difficulties in the movement came about, especially in the 80s, and the
Yes.
changing of the books, and then, not proper authorship, writing the names properly, etc., as to who has changed, and the institutional, I guess, there's so many things. I've been in touch with some devotees. So, these are things that I personally don't, I find troubling, just because, so a spiritual master's orders is for the benefit of everyone. So, to look for the wisdom in that is important, and not to deviate from that is really important. So, yeah, so I have to keep a lot of opinions to myself, and that's okay. I try to talk about it with devotees, but they try to come up with some compromising, explanations, which I guess they were in a position to do that. But yeah, like at the end of the day, I'm more of an idealist type of person.
Got it. So you're at the right place.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
So yes, we're idealists here to follow Srila Prabhupada.
You come to the right place, whereby hearing Prabhupada, we are like that recording that we played, that connects you with Krishna in Krishna Loka. And when Prabhupada was chanting, he was chanting with Krishna present on his lips even. But people have thought, oh, we'll change it, we'll do this, we'll do that. But it's not necessary, because Prabhupada came from Krishna Loka, and therefore he is quite capable of delivering everyone.
Jai, just a side note, me and you are about the same age. You're 38 and I'm 37. So you were born 84, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's very nice to know. Yeah, I'll come on camera a little bit later.
Sure, no problem. Anytime you like.
Yeah, but no, that's really nice to know. Absolutely, and yeah, I go to the Radha Kunjabari temple here in Detroit that Srila Prabhupada established, and it's a very the deities, of course, are very powerful, and there's a effulgence that emanates from the temple that I've experienced, but yeah, and at least we should at least keep trying to come to that ideal point. So anyways, I don't want to take too much time talking about
well, that's fine. That's fine.
my
Just
experience.
that's great. You're sharing your realizations and experience, and insight. So, do you have any specific questions to Narayan Prabhu or to me or to any of the devotees online watching? You can ask, like regarding history or some doubt or some realization, whatever you like.
Yeah, I think what I'm looking to do is maybe come to a point of like um you know to make sure I do my due diligence to find out the truth of the matter,
Mm,
at least whatever I can, given with devotees and directions, and then trying to use some kind of inspiration to at least come up with maybe like a working model that can be locally implemented, but then without necessarily advertising it too much, let the results speak for itself, and then when the time is right, when people are ready to listen, then we can kind of make the reveal that we are trying our best to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions in this way, form or format. And that's sort of like what I'm envisioning and what my goal is. But um, my question is like because I one of the questions I have is, I know this Srila Prabhupada wanted the BBT and the ISKCON Society to be two separate entities, and I understand that
yes.
um, currently the ISKCON Inc. is taking over the publishing of the books with some of the changes, which many devotees are saying are to be unauthorized, and I agree with them. So the question is, will the original books still be around, and like is there more effort required to help keep the original publishing of the books going? Um, and what can devotees who are wanting to support that kind of do to help keep the original books in print, in circulation, and keep all the text preserved? I was even thinking about using new technology like the blockchain network or something like that. I don't know the details, but like they have technology where that you can preserve things, and if there's an unauthorized change done on whatever's preserved, it could be a title on the house or deed on the house, that it detects it and or saves the original copy. So I was thinking in that way, if there's a way that we can use Srila Prabhupada's original books and words to make sure that they're like preserved in, at least maybe in that sense, so that if anybody tries to unauthorizedly change them, we can say, hey, no, we have the original versions and they're preserved.
Well, that's a fact.
Like,
We do have the original versions. People are trying to change them, and they're trying to change them because they would love to see Krishna consciousness leave off being a theological process of developing pure, unalloyed love of God through the sound vibration of the chanting of Prabhupada, as you were hearing, and through his unadulterated books. Now, if they want to turn it into a religion, well, that's not what Prabhupada had in mind at all. Prabhupada wanted this Krishna consciousness to be a pure representation of Krishna. And if you have his unchanged books, you will find them to be very satisfactory. I used to listen to Prabhupada translating when I was staying in West Virginia, and he was staying in West Virginia in 1969. And I would sneak up on the stairs where he was translating. It was really an astonishing mystical experience to hear him. He had like 5 books in front of him, and he would be glancing over them, drawing out information from each one of them, and creating the tapes by which his books were then going to be transcribed. And as long as the essence is there, there is no harm in whatever is going on. But people wanted to change it all to become saleable and to become religious instead of spiritual. So that's what we have been doing, is restoring the transcendental side of it and eliminating the religious side of it. Because religions, Christianity, Muslim, Islam, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all these different religions have been going on, and you can see they still haven't gotten anywhere in terms of delivering the fallen souls from the material world. So that's what we're doing. We are getting the essential sound vibrations, and that is not unopposed. There's people opposing that idea because they want to create a religion out of Krishna consciousness, which it is not. Hare Krishna.
And your question about the original books, yeah, there are some devotees who are printing original books. Like you said, Prabhupada wanted the BBT and ISKCON Corporation to be separate entities. You're right on that. So there was a lawsuit that was done sometime, when was it, 95? No, or 98? Where
I think more, 98.
yeah, allegedly they tried to take Srila Prabhupada's books from the original BBTI to the corporation. So yes, that was tried, but there's this KBI, Krishna Books Incorporated. They are publishing Srila Prabhupada's original books.
Yes. So it might not be surprising when Christianity came out in its earlier days. There were dozens and dozens of versions. So much so that when Constantine had the Council of Nicaea, he had all these bishops there, and they couldn't agree on anything. So he finally said, if you don't agree, within a certain period of time, I'm going to have you all put to death. Needless to say, they agreed very quickly. But is it authentic? We don't know. Because the Council of Nicaea created a standard because they didn't want to be put to death. But that doesn't mean it was the right theology. But we have, thank God, the right theology of Christian consciousness. And we know where it is, we know how to handle it, and we know how to maintain it. And it's going to continue onward better and better and more as time goes on. Okay.
Here's something interesting. When you mentioned Christianity, I looked up how many Christian sects are there. So Google is saying estimations show there are more than 200 Christian denominations in the US and a staggering 45,000 globally.
Wow.
So you can see that when a person says he's a Christian, you can say, oh, well, which of the 45,000 are you?
Yeah.
What do you believe out of 45,000 Christians? And when Prabhupada said about the Hindu, were you raised in a Hindu faith?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I did come
Prabhupada
from.
said the Hindu. I'm sorry, Hindu. Prabhupada said Hindu means Hindu means religion without philosophy. Because at the time of the Mughals, starting with Cyrus the Great and the other people that came in and started to take over the Vedic kings of Bharat that as that began to take place, basically, the religion, the Hindu religion was born. Hindu meaning people on the other side of the Indus River. It is a Muslim term, not a Vedic term, not a Krishna conscious term, but it is designed to humiliate the Vedic people. And that's because the Vedic culture, when it was taken over by the Muslims, began to gave up of all of their religious practices because the Muslims didn't want them to do it. So all of the practices that they had learned was stuffed into a category called Hindu, and that meant very little. Mostly lots and lots of different gods, and basically no philosophy whatsoever.
Here in
Anyhow,
here in
that's a big
Srimad,
topic.
yeah, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a Bhakti Vedanta archive. So this is Srila Prabhupada's compendium of lectures, conversations, and I just did a search on Hindu means, and Srila Prabhupada describes it in a Srimad Bhagavatam lecture, March 5th, 1975. So if you don't have this program, Prabhu, you can get it from me, and I can help you get it installed, and you can search like in an
Yeah, I
archive.
have that.
You have this,
I have
okay?
that, but yeah, I'm glad to be in the sangha so that we can study together.
So what did
Well, this is very
Prabhupada
true.
say?
Oh,
What did Prabhupada say about Hindu?
oh, okay. 1 second. Let me project it back on the screen. Prabhupada is saying, let's see here. The Rupa, is it okay if you can read, Prabhu? Up to,
Sure.
I guess, here or something.
So without such divisions, therefore there is no such thing as Hindu Dharma. No, there is no such word in the whole Vedic literature. You won't find in the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavata as Hindu Dharma. There is one word as Bhagavat Dharma, but there is no such word as Hindu Dharma. This Hindu Dharma or Hindu, this is creation by our neighbor, Indian neighbor, the Middle East Mohammedans. They gave the name Indian people as Hindu. Hindu means there is one river, Sindhu. The Mohammedans, they pronounce Sa as Ha. So those who were on the other side of the Hindu River, they were called Hindus. But actually, Vedic religion is neither for Hindu nor for Christian, it is meant for the human being. Vedic literature. So in the Vedic literature, this Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they are Vedic literature. So there is injunction for observing the rules and regulations of Varna and Ashrama, 4 classes and 4 ashrama. Ashrama means where spiritual cultivation is practiced. That is called ashram. So brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Chatur varna and chatur ashrama, material and spiritual. So sannyasi is supposed to be on the topmost of the human society. Chatur varna, 4 classes then. Among the varnas, there are 4 classes, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Sannyas is the topmost order of human society.
Jai, thank you, Rupa Manjari Prabhu.
Jai.
Excellent. All right. So, Nahush Prabhu, thank you for coming. And any more questions or comments?
Not at the moment, but I definitely want to listen and really read the books, because I know the books are the basis. Now that I found the original books, I really want to read them. So thanks.
Jai, excellent. Robert Prabhu, anything you'd like to say, Prabhu? Realization, question? You asked some questions, but did I answer them on text?
You answered one of them, and the other one I was waiting for you to respond, but
Okay, can you ask about that other one, Prabhu?
I would give me a second.
Sure.
Let me pull it up.
Okay, I see it here. Okay, how do we help? How did Prabhupada help people that are dealing with depression? Is that the question? Okay, how
Yeah.
did Prabhupada help people that were dealing with depression?
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, so how do you define depression?
There were many, many depressed people that became devotees in the earlier days and all the days. Everybody is depressed in the material world for the most part. So they came depressed, but when they took prasadam, they were sleeping nicely, they were chanting nicely, and they were taking prasadam nicely. All of these things helped alleviate depression. Depression is not a realistic or natural state of mind.
Yeah, it's the state of, yeah, right. To depression, people, I mean, I was looking at a lot of people in America, they can't sleep, they can't, so all these things are basically cured, by chanting Hare Krishna, following the regulated principles, and these things are, practically nullified to a large degree. So anyone who takes up the process, the chanting process, following the regulated principles, reading Prabhupada's books, their depressions.
Robert's situation is that he's living outside of a temple or outside of the association of many devotees. So by taking part in what we're doing,
yes,
you will make advancement and your depression will decrease.
Yeah, and I mean, Prabhupada has recorded, hundreds and thousands of lectures, conversations, videos, so you can watch that. It's very inspiring just to hear Prabhupada speaking. And then not only that, it gives you a very clear understanding about what is Krishna consciousness, if you hear very carefully. So, Robert, you can take up that also, hearing Srila Prabhupada, reading his letters, conversations, his memories of devotees also that are very, very, very powerful, how he dealt with devotees and situations.
And it will remove the basis of depression.
Yeah. So take advantage of all this recorded material and archived, just like Srila Prabhupada is present right now. So everything is here. That's the beauty of this present time. Okay. Let's see here if there's any questions online. Is that satisfactory, Robert Prabhu? Take advantage of Prabhupada's books, conversations, kirtans, lectures, devotee association. That's why we made this Istagoshi program, so devotees can come, ask questions, share their realizations, and express their doubts, challenge the philosophy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, let's see here. Your parents are devotees, Joshi Prabhu? Nahush Joshi Prabhu?
They're not initiated, but they are chanting. They are chanting 16 rounds and they're reading the Bhagavatam and everything. They just, but they're more of the mindset of, we don't want a controversy. We don't want to hear about controversy. We don't want to hear about, the difficulties. We just want, they're more like the situated more in the Shantaras type of mindset, but they are at least chanting and reading, and so at least I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Excellent. Wow. So,
as long as you get original books, chant Prabhupada's original melodies, and utilize Prabhupada's original recipes for offering to Krishna, then there's no controversy.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. That's very true. Yes.
And there were you guys been in America for a long time now?
Yeah, we've been here since like '93. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's when I came in the '90s from Fiji, actually. So, Narayan Prabhu, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah. I'm at your service.
And in your past, your history in ISKCON, not specifically, your understanding in let's say, when was it? You joined 1968, or you saw Srila Prabhupada 1967 and joined 1968, and then from 67 all the way to 2022, that's more than 54 years, in the movement, or if you want to call it that, and looking at things from different sides. So what is the most important neglected thing that we neophytes struggle with, or we neglect? What's your
Well, I
understanding?
don't quite get the point.
No, I'm saying, what's the missing thing you have seen from 1967 all the way 2022? What is the missing thing, the understanding which is missing from the Krishna consciousness?
People are adding gurus all over the place. They're changing the books all over the place. They're changing kirtan all over the place. They're chanting with electric instruments and trying to make themselves sound like rock and roll stars all over the place. And that's not what we're about. We want to hear Prabhupada chant like Prabhupada. When I joined the movement in 1968, there were very few people on 2 days. I think it was 14 in 2 days. And that brought the population way up. Before that, there was probably not more than maybe 30 devotees in the entire movement.
Mm.
So when you have 30 devotees in the entire movement, then it's a problem, not a problem for knowing what to do, because you do what Prabhupada is teaching you to do.
Mm.
But as people went ahead after 1970, Prabhupada said, actually, there's a sinister movement within our society, and that sinister movement made it very difficult for people to stick with Prabhupada.
Mm.
Everybody was trying to branch out and be their own leader and their own authority. And when that happens, you've lost everything.
So you're saying that in the early days, there were less devotees and everyone followed Srila Prabhupada. Then after 1970, when Srila Prabhupada wrote the direction of management, things were getting haywire. And then...
Well, yes, totally haywire. And there were people all over India then that were trying to teach us, devotees, saying that Prabhupada's melodies were just for ninny heads, and that we should only chant the Bengali chanting of the fishermen and the people, the eunuchs that would go from door to door begging. We should chant traditional. And they said, well, what's wrong with the way Prabhupada chanted? And the people that were pushing this new way of chanting were saying Prabhupada was just teaching you Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He was teaching us to chant like that because we were too primitive to learn to chant the real complicated mridanga beats and complicated kirtans, but they turned out to be totally bogus. What Prabhupada did was totally bona fide and very effective. So that's what happened after 1970 to some degree or another. There were still people that chanted like Prabhupada, and myself included, but there was a large increasing contingency of people that wanted to be like howling kirtanistas from Bengal or anywhere else in India, trying to make it sound as though that kirtan is some sort of a stage performance rather than that it is unalloyed love of God. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I wanted to ask, on regards to that, is the harmonium something that was introduced later on, and in the sense, is it bona fide? And
Prabhupada played the harmonium, but the harmonium in and of itself, particularly not so much the harmonium, but the oh my goodness, what's it called? The dulcimer, not dulcimer, the
Dulcitina?
What?
Dulcitina?
Dulcitina, yes. The dulcitina is based on a French instrument. The French instrument started out as a sort of an organ that you pumped with your feet and played on the keys. But then for the Indian style, they didn't want to sit on a chair to chant Hare Krishna, so they made it smaller and they brought it down to where you could chant in a temple or in a home. And that was done based on the French dulcitina harmonium structure. But Prabhupada played a harmonium, and he also played a dulcitina. So it's nothing unbonafide about it, but it is perhaps in the last few hundred years they brought that in.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And I've also heard good things about this devotee named Vishnu Jana Swami. His kirtans are pretty lively, and I don't know exactly what happened in the kirtan scene, but yeah, like I really like to hear like the original tunes from her.
Who's kirtans?
Vishnu Jana Prabhu or Swami. I don't know.
Vishnu John Swami, the
Yeah.
late Vishnu John Swami.
Well, he tended to like to do his own kirtans, but Prabhupada asked him not to. Prabhupada wanted him to chant the way he chanted. But Vishnu John, was a hippie, and he wanted to play. He wanted to play kirtans the way hippies would. So he brought that in, but for the most part, he played Prabhupada's melodies and Prabhupada's harmonium style.
All right. So I'd like to read some comments from our devotees watching online here. I would like to welcome them also. We got Peter, Hare Krishna, Peter's here. There's this devotee named Charusmita. Hare Krishna Pranam. Peter saying Jai. Lakshmi saying Hare Krishna. Aristo Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Lakshmi Prabhu.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Jai. King's James Bible is, what is it? Shakespearean?
Shakespearean
What does that mean?
of Shakespeare.
Oh, okay, okay. Peter Prabhu made a comment. When you Google the question, how many different sects of Hinduism there is, answer, the four main sects of Hinduism are Vaishnavism, Shaivism, Shaktism, and Smartism. And Saurav Sahu Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada once said, philosophy without religion is mental speculation, and religion without spirituality is sentimentality.
Religion without philosophy.
Religion without philosophy, yes.
It's sentimental.
Yes. Saurav Sahu also is saying, we didn't come with anything and we will not go with anything. So why worry? Chant Hare Krishna. We all will be gone in probably 50 years. It sounds like smart parents to me. You are blessed. I think this Peter Prabhu is referring to Mr. Joshi Prabhu. Saurav Sahu Prabhu is saying, Narayan Prabhu is a true disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Give your blessings, Prabhu, as I'm going through a lot of trouble here. Hare Krishna.
Yes, I give you my blessings. But you can understand that Prabhupada is continuously giving you his blessings. You don't need a human being's blessings, but when you're asking for a devotee to give blessings to another devotee, you're not going to be disappointed. Devotee will always give blessings. But the main thing is that the Srila Prabhupada is continuously giving his blessing. So you will never be disappointed.
Jai, okay. Those are the comments from our devotees online. Let me see if there's any comments on Facebook. 1 second here. Vinay Prabhu, Hare Krishna, you're there? You're listening? Sorry we didn't give you a chance to speak. If you like to speak, you can, Prabhu. I think last time we saw you, you were in Jagannath Puri. You sent us some nice pictures. and videos. So I remember that.
Jai.
Robert Prabhu, anything you want to discuss, Prabhu?
Not at the moment.
All right. Okay, let me check. There's no comments on, let's see here. So
What
comments.
happened to Mohit?
Oh, Mohit Prabhu. I'm not sure. I'll have to contact him and find
I
out.
think so.
Okay.
And Vinayak also?
Vinayak is in Japan, so he might be working or he, I don't know. Honestly, everyone gets
Keep
the link.
track of them.
Yeah, we'll keep track of them. I'll give them a call. So, Nahush Prabhu, you read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and then you tried to find out some association. Do you guys have association with Prabhupada disciples there, or whatever sangha you belong to there?
Yeah. There are a few Srila Prabhupada disciples here, and that I speak with. Yeah. Of course, they're definitely much more senior than in their age, and I learn a lot from them, and particularly about the topics we spoke about, and it's good to learn about it and things, and also the difficulties that I guess devotees have faced in terms of their vast spiritual offerings not being recorded in the books, and because of political influences and things like that. It's sad to see that, and I understand that also there's this idea that the bigger the institution, the more it'll be like difficult for.
Well, if you put on headphones, you can
devotees
listen to
to really-
Prabhupada chanting, and you can listen to Prabhupada's lectures. You will not miss anything.
Mhm.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about where you are or anything like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of history. I mean, a lot of history, like Narayan Prabhu experience, Srila Prabhupada talks about in his books. So anyone who reads Prabhupada's books is getting sufficient guidance to become a pure devotee. And not only that, he gives historical accounts of what happened in the Gaudiya Math, what he wanted. So it's all
Very clearly stated.
Yes. So.
But then the chanting,
Yes.
if you hear Prabhupada chanting carefully with great meditation and very great concentration, you will hear Krishna in that chanting. Whereas if you hear other people chanting, you will hear all sorts of things, but you probably won't hear Krishna.
Okay, let me check one more time here.
Would it be safe to, well, not safe, but in a sense, like in a way to practice chanting with Srila Prabhupada's, chanting going on in the background? Is that something, devotees, the present day can do to really pray to Srila Prabhupada while chanting?
Well, why not? Put in earbuds, put on headphones, listen to Prabhupada chant. And like if it's a kirtan, Prabhupada led so many kirtans that have been recorded. Then when you hear the kirtan that he is leading, then follow in the other people in the room are part of that kirtan also, and you will hear them. You can join them in chanting. There's no limit.
I think he meant chanting japa. Chanting
Chanting
along.
japa? Well, same thing. If you put on your headphones when Prabhupada is chanting japa, you will hear how to chant japa. The right speed, the right intonation, and the right speed meaning that you won't take 10 hours to chant japa when it takes only 2 hours to chant 16 rounds, more or less.
Right. Yeah, just a side point, Nahush Prabhu, we started the Zoom meetings in 2020 during when COVID started. So we have about 2 years worth of recording that has been published and archived. So I know it's a lot. So a lot of questions, comments we have discussed. So you're free to browse any of them and just click over and click. And if you have
How do you access them?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll show you how to access them. So basically you go to this website here. One second here. All right, so this is my channel. So I'll get to advertise my channel. One second here. So this is my channel, Bhakta Singh. And then when you click on this here, my channel comes up and then the videos are here. You can see all the videos we have done. So
How many would you say there are?
I don't know, probably, more than 200-300 videos.
Well, there. If you want to
Yeah.
go back to God, start at the beginning, and when you finish, you'll be chanting from Krishna Loka.
Yeah, a lot of we're getting lot more views now, so
Yeah.
good. And
People like what we're doing because we're looking into the future. When we say the League for 10K, that's 10K means 10,000. We're talking about preparing, acting in Krishna consciousness in such a way that what we're doing will be good for 10,000 years. Not just that there'll be some new guru popping up and getting everybody all excited about what he's doing, and some other guru pops up and gets people excited about what they're doing. No, we stay with Prabhupada and keep going onward, and you'll see that in the end, particularly that recording that we played at the beginning, that very well may be Prabhupada chanting as the sole Acharya and Guru of ISKCON for the next 10,000 years.
Jai.
All I'd like to say is, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, Prabhupada himself says that there are gaps in the in the sampradaya,
Sampradaya.
right? Or
Yeah.
Prabhupada?
Yes.
One must take from the most prominent acharya. So there's no acharya present than Srila Prabhupada, and he will be present for the next 10,000 years. So what's the reason for getting a
There's no
pop-up
need to
guru?
fill in a bunch of people trying to create their own little business storefront business for themselves. No,
Yeah.
we just stick with Prabhupada. The end result will be perfect.
Yeah, that clears up a lot of confusion. All kinds of things get cleared up. So that's the way to go here. That's the only way to go.
Jai.
Not the way to go, the only way to go. So let's see here if any comments here. We want things to be very simple, and Prabhupada made things very simple also. So why we're going to complicate things by introducing what we think or what they think?
Well, everybody that takes initiation, if they're not sincere, if they're not a genuine devotee, they start thinking, what if I became the next guru in ISKCON? And you get 100 people just thinking that, and you end up with a very big mess. Unnecessary mess. Just keep Prabhupada in the center, and you don't have any mess whatsoever.
Try. So then people in Kali, well, maybe it's a human tendency to be some sort of follower, and if this point is very simple, that Prabhupada is the guru, his books are there, you can take direct instruction from him, then why this false understanding that, oh, there has to be a living person to give me initiation or give me some
Well-
understanding, which I can just get from the books? Just open.
Right. If you know the Catholic Church, you can answer your question. Jesus came here, taught a bunch of stuff. They didn't like it, so they killed him. And then the church picked up the pieces and started creating religion. Krishna consciousness is not a religion. It is, if anything, the opposite of religion. Religion means material mentality, material emotions, and you're sitting there thinking, how can I bring the kingdom of God message down into my household, down into my church, down into my wherever it is? But people want to do that. Why? Because they don't want to give up the material consciousness. But if you're ready to become a transcendentalist, the last thing you want is for Krishna consciousness to be a religion. You don't want Krishna consciousness to be transcendental.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's no question of transcendental and religion crossing paths. Religion cannot be seen as transcendental. It is just how to make your body feel better about being in your body.
So
There's devotees like that now too. They've got hundreds of people gathering together, but if you look at what they're doing, it's like a religion. They get a whole bunch of people and they follow all sorts of rules, such as the Catholics follow all the rules the Catholics follow. And what is the end result? The end result is that nobody goes anywhere. They just stay there stuck. So our job is to unstick people from their beliefs so that they can go back to home, back to Godhead. That's the actual process.
Joy. There's some comments here I'd like to read from
Right.
Saurav Sahu Prabhu. Thank you for commenting, Saurav Prabhu. Let's see, let me share the comments. Let's see here. Adrian Prabhu is saying, Hari Bol. Saurav Sahu, is this true? Srila Prabhupada was the Sena Bhakta of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was such a prediction by Lord himself in Chaitanya Mangal. I don't know if this is a prediction. I've not read Chaitanya Mangal, but you can see Srila Prabhupada is a Shaktavesh avatar. Oh, Peter Prabhu is saying yes, it's there. Saurav Sahu Prabhu is also saying, what you Prabhus are doing if you what you Prabhus are doing if you do not, then future it will be sectarian religion like Christianity. Then it will not exist for 10,000 years. This is exactly these bogus gurus are trying. They are trying to boss by themselves and filter out Prabhupada. Yeah, that's a very good observation. They're changing the books. They're inserting themselves as some sort of transparent via medium to Krishna or to Srila Prabhupada, which is bogus. Srila Prabhupada's books is transparent via medium more than any of these appointed gurus. So yes, Saurav Sahu Prabhu, your point taken. And Narayan Prabhu himself experienced all these so-called gurus, in the 70s and 80s and 90s, how they were not actually qualified to be anything than, strict followers of Srila Prabhupada. When they tried to become gurus, that's when everything went haywire.
Yes. Have you blocked my video?
No, I did not block the video. I think you
Huh.
stopped the video. You can start it now again. You have to click start video on the bottom, what is it, bottom left.
It won't do it.
It's okay, you can still speak, we can hear you. Okay. Any questions from our viewers here on Zoom? No? Okay. Okay, let me see one more thing here. Okay, there's a comment. Let me put it back on the screen here. Okay. Hare Krishna. Kumar saying, Hare Krishna. Since it seems the GBC is gradually realizing its mistake, is there any hope in the future when they will suddenly admit their mistakes? What will be the repercussions? Interesting comment he has made. Hare
They
Krishna.
have no basis for admitting their mistakes. The mistake they made was that Prabhupada wanted the temple presidents to elect a slate of 12 GBC for 3-year terms. Anything else is not satisfactory, and anything else is not bona fide. And they forced that on Prabhupada, and then they said Prabhupada wanted it, adding insult to injury. So there's no way to have a GBC unless the temple presidents elect from other temple presidents, create a slate of temple presidents, maybe 30 of them or something, and then you get them to be GBC by election. They can be reelected, or like United States senators, or they will have to stay. They cannot keep going without being elected to their post. But they wanted to create a tyranny, and a tyranny is what they've gotten right now. They created a tyranny, and a tyranny is what they've got.
Yeah, the tyranny is collapsing. They're all fighting amongst each other. You know, fighting for this, fighting for disciples. You know,
So
Malati.
the main thing is, if you want to talk about GBC, then define GBC.
Yeah, that's a very good. Yeah.
What is a GBC? If you have actual GBC, if you don't like them, you can vote them out of office and put in new GBC.
Ramachandra, what were you going to say about Malati?
Oh, Malati recently made a post where that house where Srila Prabhupada stayed in 1960, 69 or 68 is falling apart. So she was trying to raise some money to fix up the house.
Oh, in what? In New Vrindavan, in West Virginia.
Yes. Yeah, in West Virginia. So I was like, you know, these.
It really is falling apart. I was there probably less than 10 years ago, and it wasn't in bad shape at all.
Yeah, but now it's really falling apart, and I was like, wow, you know, ISKCON, the so-called gurus and the GBC, they have so much money that they can just, you know, restore that in a few minutes.
Well, they don't want to, because they don't want Prabhupada to be the guru.
Well, right.
If they restore the building where Prabhupada was translating books, and where he gave me the title of Vishwakarma in the second story, that would spoil their whole sinful activity project.
Yeah.
So if Malati wants to do it, Malati wants to be a female Diksha guru, right?
Oh yeah, someone mentioned that, right, the feminist.
Maybe she already is a female Diksha guru. What's she going to do? Use that ashram as a female Diksha guru hangout? What's the significance there?
Yeah, it's a very good point. Okay, let me see here. There's some more comments. Okay, there's some more comments here. 1 second. Please keep commenting. We'll read the comment and We can
Yeah.
discuss the comments also. Okay, here's some more comments here. All right, where's it? Saurav Sahu Prabhu is saying, Prabhupada is dead, quote, the most bogus thing can be said by only these bogus gurus. Prabhupada is from Krishna Loka, he's Nitya Siddha Vaishnava. He can't be dead. Where all Prabhupada's chanting? Lectures are available, then why we not listening them, but listen to these bogus? And then Neeraj Kumar Prabhu is saying, yesterday itself, one Prabhu in a Bhagavatam class in one of the prominent ISKCON temples said, Prabhupada is no more and you need a living guru. I was shocked. They imply that Prabhupada is dead. That's very...
Oh, yes. I've been reading all sorts of things on the internet in the same lines that Bobby Hebert is publishing stuff. And they say Prabhupada is dead. Prabhupada is dead. And that means they're not dead yet. And they want to be guru for now. It's a horrible situation.
Yeah, this devotee was in a prominent ISKCON temple and he had that Prabhupada is no more and you need a living guru. He was shocked. And
And
Saurav
how
Sahu,
can you say that someone who is eternal is not living?
yeah,
And remember, Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, he reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die, when thou art living still and sound. And we prove that by playing Prabhupada's Kirtan at the beginning of this session.
right.
Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy life around. There's no death for a pure devotee, certainly no death for Srila Prabhupada. He has done everything to prevent anyone from being able to say that he's dead. How can they dare say such a thing and get away with it?
And then Saurav Sahu Prabhu saying, there were such statements of Prabhupada exist as I reading it few days ago. Srila Prabhupada always want all we listen his lectures, kirtans, chanting after he will go. He said he will. Always there by his voice vibration. Then Lakshmi Prabhu said, Hare Krishna, West Virginia is falling apart. They tore the art studio down in Bahulavan. Many sold land to the fracking industry. The place is caving in now. Interesting. Well, I guess she was a resident of, yes, I think I remember she was a resident of West Virginia.
What's her name?
Well, Lakshmi.
Lakshmi.
Yeah.
Not Hansaduda's Lakshmi.
No, not her.
Yeah.
Here, Lakshmi asks a question. Did Prabhupada tell those in West Virginia not to sell the land? I'm not really sure what was the situation with the land in West Virginia. I think it was leased, or did ISKCON buy it?
They bought it. They bought over 4,000 acres.
Okay.
During the time of Kirtanananda, he was bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month from tricky ways of making money and prostituting brahmacharinis and stuff like that. And when he brought in that sort of money, they kept on buying acreage until they had over 4,000 acres. But when the time came, at the end of Kirtananda's reign, they needed to pay the bills, they needed to pay the salaries, they needed to pay all that stuff. So they began to sell off the property to do that.
Oh, okay, yes.
They sold off the property until they had only a few hundred acres left. But then they went even further. That they gave fracking rights to oil companies. They had they had a great deal of soul searching over 5 or 6 years as to whether or not to go for fracking or not. But that was a foregone conclusion. They had no way to not go for fracking. So fracking means that they're using Krishna's land to get shale oil or something like that, right?
Yes, some sort of natural gas or oil. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that was their hypocrisy, that they were pretending that they were going to possibly not do that. They might as well have done it at the beginning, because that's what they ended up doing at the end.
Sir Sahu Prabhu made a very interesting comment. Why TOVP Mayapur looks like a mosque?
It looks
Yeah.
like a mosque.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting question, because the TOVP in Mayapur was modeled after what's it called? St. Paul's St. Paul's Basilica in the Vatican.
Hmm.
And that is probably modeled after a mosque.
Yeah. There you go, Sir Prabhu.
But they're all Catholic. They're all dyed-in-the-wool Catholics. And they all want to,
Born again Catholics.
born-again Catholics.
Taking their birth in the Hare Krishna movement or Catholic movement.
Oh, they're not interested in the Hare Krishna movement. They're just interested in having a big mosque or a big St. Paul's Basilica, St. Paul's Cathedral, not St. Paul's, what is it? Did I say St. Paul's Basilica? Whatever it is, it's a basilica that's in the Vatican where the Pope lives.
I said the Queen recently died. Everyone is lamenting. She was 95 years old or something?
96.
96, wow. I said Jay Narayan's mother is 96 years old.
Who?
Jay Narayan Prabhu.
Really?
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, she will not be mourned when she passes away to the degree of the Queen. Oh, she was quite a person, and the fact that her son,
Charles.
Philip, right?
Charles.
Charles. Her son, Charles, took over, is going to create a nightmare for England. Now, understand that she was sitting there maintaining it with her Shakti. And interestingly enough, somebody was making a sculpture of her that was a devotee and handed her a copy of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. And she read it for 4 hours and said, wouldn't it be nice if Krishna were worshipped by everyone?
Wow. Interesting.
But she was quite a noble lady.
Yeah.
Not a vegetarian, but you'll see what's going to happen with Prince Charles. I was hoping that his son William would take over, but no, because Camilla, the horrible monster, wanted to become queen and was willing to kill Princess Diana to become queen.
Yeah, some interesting. Someone made a comment that generally the royalty is full of controversy, but this queen, what was her name? Queen Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, yes.
Yeah, she was free of any controversy or any type of ill.
She was the longest ruling queen in the history of England.
Yeah, and without any
longest ruling ruler in the history of England.
Yeah.
And she just managed to do everything with a very nice smile and everything. But what she wanted to do was maintain the stability of the country.
Mm.
Now it's going to go to hell in a handcart very rapidly. And you'll see how good a queen she was in 5 years from now.
Okay, let's see if there's any more comments from the audience here. Okay, Saurav Sahu Prabhu saying, let me read his comment here. Okay. They are gathering lot of money for this temple, as they are saying it was Nityananda Prabhu's prediction. Yeah,
TVOP,
yeah, yes.
my view is get a padlock, lock the front gates, and leave all those guys inside until they starve to death.
I would like to comment on that.
Prabhupada wanted me to design and build the temple there. Not TVOP, but the ISKCON World Headquarters is what it was supposed to be called. And I actually set the cornerstone for that temple. And Prabhupada went down in the pit, 16 feet down, had me come down and had me do the masonry to contain a deity of Nisringadev in solid gold with beautiful, pure ruby eyes. That's how Bhavananda managed to lose the location.
Robert, were you going to say something?
No.
Prabhu, Nahusha Prabhu, Nahush Prabhu, you want to say something? I think.
Yeah, I wanted to say that in the TOVP videos, there's some devotees that say that Srila Prabhupada wanted a dome, and he kept saying a dome. And the funny thing is they say that, but there's no like video. They didn't present a video or written evidence. So I'm questioning if Srila Prabhupada actually said that, or if they're just using that.
Well, you know he did. And I designed the temple with a dome in England in 1971.
Okay.
So I could show you what the temple looked like that he wanted. I have it. I have the drawings here in my apartment.
Sure. And Prabhuji, I guess the question I have is that in terms of continuity of passing down information, knowledge, and responsibility, so that all the projects can be completed as per Srila Prabhupada's desires. How can we? I know that's a.
Well, they're not going to tear down the TVOP anytime soon, so you just have to let it stay there for a few hundred years, or 100 years, and then replace it.
Okay. Thank
you. I even presented to the people building the TVOP how it could be built in such a way that it would have Vedic domes on it. They were not interested. They wanted the Catholic Church domes.
Thank you,
where the Pope lives. So anyhow, we're facing a situation which is about as bad as it's going to get. The good part is it can't get that much worse. And so we're going to be coming out of that. Ramachandra and his League for 10K is going to lead Prabhupada into the forefront in such a way that we will have the genuine Krishna consciousness vision coming out of that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Narayan Prabhu, you made this comment here about the name. So I started looking it up here. Here we go. You mentioned the cornerstone. So Prabhupada is saying, blah, blah, blah. What is Srila Prabhupada saying? Okay, here. Rupa, can you read this paragraph, Prabhu?
Now I am pleased that you are making serious study of this, our Krishna philosophy. So I want that you go on like this until you will able to defeat any challenge from atheists and rascals. Then your preaching work will have real potency, and combinedly with your God brothers around the world, and at London Temple, you shall preach so strongly that one day this Krishna consciousness movement will change the world from the most dangerous conditions. That is the wish of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And tomorrow we shall be celebrating the Lord's appearance day by laying down the cornerstone for our world headquarters here at Mayapur.
Jai. So,
Who is it addressed to?
it seems
Chatur Bhuj.
Chaturbhuj. This is 1972. I think that's when you were talking about laying down the cornerstone. 1972. So
They dug a hole in the ground about 8 feet by 8 feet by 16 feet deep. Then they put a rickety bamboo ladder there, and Prabhupada climbed down the rickety bamboo ladder. And then I came down the rickety bamboo ladder, and they started lowering buckets with bricks and mortar, which I was totally horrified because I thought, what if they slip? But so I positioned myself so if the bucket slipped, I would be the one that got hit by it, not Prabhupada.
So they changed the name from ISKCON World Headquarters to this Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. It's very weird, you know. It should have been
That's
ISKCON.
Bhavananda did that, I think.
Yeah, they have. You see it here. Prabhupada gives the address. CO ISKCON World Headquarters, PO Box, Mayapur, Nadia District, West Bengal, India. So Prabhupada wanted to call it ISKCON World Headquarters. So
Yes. And why not?
yeah. So this is
But
something
that is before the GBC was really strongly created. That's before the GBC took off. After 1970, they didn't really act as GBC, but at that time in 1972, nobody noticed that the GBC wasn't being elected because it's supposed to be elected every 3 years and it's only been 2 years.
Here's a very interesting letter. This is to Jay Pataka, October 22nd, 1972. I'll just read this part. The glorification of Jay Pataka Swami. You are the best man for this task of being responsible for our world headquarters at Mayapur. Thank you very much for helping me in this way. So look what they did. They changed the name, you know, to Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir.
And the design.
And the design, yes, yes.
And Bhavananda lost the location of the cornerstone.
Yes, yes. So this is all, you know.
So the way I look at it, at some point in history, we'll be able to excavate the cornerstone and then rebuild the temple starting with that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask Prabhuji. Is that like the exact location? Because I've heard that, you know, some of the JVC members were asked, and I don't want to name them because, you know, whatever reason.
That's fine, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they were asked as to, you know, we don't have the original plot of land and will this, you know, 25 acres or something like that we already have in our possession due to build the TOVP. And I think there was like agreed upon, yeah, sure, why not? Like in the sense, like, yeah, we have this land in our possession or in our legal custody, and we can build it there. So maybe it is not. I'm glad to hear that, you know, maybe it is not on the actual birthplace of Mahaprabhu, or like, you know, off the center.
Well, it's in the right location. It's just not situated where Prabhupada set the cornerstone.
I see. Thank you. But the general vicinity is correct, but it's not exactly on the right question. Is that what I'm understanding?
It's probably within 20 feet or maybe 50 feet.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me see if there's any more questions here. Some more questions here, or comments. Let's see here. Let me put it on the screen here. By Bhava, Prabhu saying Hare Krishna. Saurav Sahu, Prabhu is commenting. I want to ask something. Oh, do you aware of Nityananda family? They are saying they are coming from Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So they will go straight to Goloka? I'm not really familiar with Lord Nityananda Prabhu or his family members. So,
Well, his family descended, but they began to fall apart because they got mixed up with the Bengali, Bengali Sahajya
no.
structure. And that was largely because when Lord Chaitanya apparently was just before he entered into Lord Jagannath's body in Puri, he wasn't chanting even, he was mumbling. And so what happened is they created a whole cult of Sahajias that were just mumbling and then collecting money, of course. And then as a result, it became disintegrated. Prabhupada went to see a descendant of Lord Nityananda, and they were total rascals, of course. And Prabhupada came in and he bowed down, and when Prabhupada offered obeisances, real Dandavat, he bowed down and prostrated himself in front of this fellow sitting on an asana, chewing with red lips, chewing betel nuts. And as Prabhupada bowed down in front of him, he said, "Oh, Swamiji, I am not deserving this sort of worship," he said, gratuitously. And Prabhupada said, "Yes, I know. I am honoring your lineage." Okay? I'm honoring your lineage. I know that you're a rascal, but I'm honoring your lineage, going back to Nityananda. Okay? Hello?
Jai,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're here, Prabhu.
No, I didn't
Hare
hear
Krishna.
it.
Isn't it that from Advaita Acharya in that incident?
What?
Like, isn't that lineage mentioned from Advaita Acharya from that incident? Because Srila Prabhupada said in his lectures that the lineage from Nityananda Prabhu is not available, or the
Yeah, there's
seminal
nothing good that
lineage
came
of
out of all of that. Lord Chaitanya presented everything as he wanted it to be presented. After that, it all disintegrated. And then after that, Prabhupada came and built up, created the Krishna consciousness movement that we see today, or actually what we used to see. And now we have to restore it to what he wanted it to be.
Hare Krishna.
Not difficult. It's just dealing with a lot of egos.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were asking about now Vinayak Prabhu. Vinayak Prabhu's here. Vinayak.
Jai Vinayak Prabhu.
He's Japanese.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Jai Vinayak Prabhu.
Prabhupada.
Jai. All right, let's see. We have any more comments? And then anything else, Vinayak Prabhu? Any good news?
Not enough good news so far. Like the preaching attempts are not as successful as it should have been.
Okay.
However, like I'm trying.
Okay, very good. Oh, you have a couple of one or two devotees that are understanding the what's going
Yeah,
on.
like they have started to understand. They are also doing their bit to distribute books. However, like making them more serious and sincere is kind of difficult for. So
I see. they're still at the temple there?
No, not at the temple. They were in Kyoto,
Mhm.
in my previous city where I was living. So there they have been like helping me in these preaching programs and all these things.
Indian
However,
body
like
or Japanese?
Japanese.
Oh, Japanese. Oh, very nice.
Jai.
Excellent.
Yeah, Prabhu, uh, please pray to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhu, so that due to his mercy they can advance spiritually and become more sincere.
So you have Prabhupada's blessings. You're in Japan and preaching Krishna consciousness. Oh, amazing. All right. Let's see here. Any ISKCON news you want to share? Vinayak?
No, Prabhu, I'm not interested in all these things now.
Okay.
So every time in these websites also, like, no matter how much we criticize, but the positive things, I try to focus more on positive things now.
Jai.
I want to share something. I think I saw a picture of you, Narayan Prabhu, and I sent it to you. Well, let me see if I can see it here. 1 second. I want to ask you. Oh, yeah. So this one here. Where is this video here? 1 second. Let me share this video. I think I saw you in one of the videos, and I wanted to ask you some
Well, thank
questions.
you very much.
Let's see here. What question? I wrote it down here. Well, where is it? Okay. Narayan Prabhu was in the second part. Okay, let's see here. Copy link. So 1 second. I'm gonna share it on our WhatsApp group so people, devotees can see. Okay, this is the video.
Jai.
Okay. I have it here. 1 second. I'm gonna load it up here. So we're gonna watch a video where Narayan Prabhu, I think this is in Los Angeles, where he is carrying a canopy, or what do you call that thing?
Palanquin.
What?
Umbrella, huh?
Umbrella, yes, umbrella. So here, 1 second. This is very interesting. I never saw this before, so. And this is also the history of ISKCON that started in Fiji. So that was also very interesting. How Prabhupada, okay, here we go. Okay, no. Okay, here we go.
Went on in typing this nectar from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pastimes, the loving relationships.
No, Prabhu, can you see the video?
Barely.
Is it big enough?
They could be bigger.
Oh, you're using a phone, so that's probably the biggest you'll get.
Devotees, that it was so sweet. I was able to just go beyond whatever limits I had before. He was speaking about me, as he
Do
told
you
me.
remember this, Narayan Prabhu? No.
So the
Well,
17 books got published. The
That's
last
the temple room that I built
In fact,
in
on one
Los
morning,
Angeles,
on in
including the
typing
floor.
this, not eating or
Marvel.
sleeping. She's just typing all day and night. And Prabhupada said, yes, she is running on spiritual energy.
Can
He
you
was
increase the
speaking about
volume?
me.
1 second. That's the loudest he'll go, Narayan Prabhu.
Okay.
I think I see
As
you
he
in
told me
this
later.
video here somewhere. 1 second. Where is it?
So the 17 books got published.
Oh, that's
The last book came out probably on the last day of the 2-month cycle. And we called the secretary and we told him it's done.
So I built
We
the
gave up
temple room and I
everything, and
built the
somehow it
Vyasasan that's
happened.
there.
acha. Try. Is this it here?
Its own limitations. And so it was really a great moment for everybody to just expand their book distribution and their convincing people to join the temples. It was just one of those great times.
Hare Krishna.
There was such a innocence, enthusiastic innocence that made everything very, very beautiful. And I just remember at all the programs, everyone would come with so much enthusiasm and excitement, all cleanly, freshly showered with beautiful fresh tilak. Prabhupada's
Who's
presence
speaking?
was so powerful
It sounds like Vishaka.
Oh, I see.
that he actually transformed us physically, not just in the heart. When I look at pictures in the BTG from that period, everybody looked very, very beautiful. So that was a very, very special time how he
This is Los
infused
Angeles.
us. And actually, when I
Yeah.
first came to the temple in Brooklyn, I was attracted by the love that the devotees oozed out. You know, they were so welcoming and
I modeled the
Everyone
Vyasasan
wanted-
after the throne of Man Singh, the Maharaj of Jaipur.
Jai.
to serve. It was like a privilege. Like even at the offerings, especially the 4 o'clock offering, there would be pies and cakes and cookies and ice creams. And if you stood there like 10 minutes before the offering or something, there would be like 15 women coming from different parts of the community with their dishes to be offered. It was like in the Stories of Krishna book. So Prabhupada's influence when he was here was like that. It just was very enlivening. And he was just directing us towards Krishna, really, not towards himself. When I think on all the other gurus
She's mentioning when I think on all the other gurus.
that I met before Prabhupada, no one directed you toward Krishna, they directed you towards them. That was the uniqueness of Prabhupada. And even now, after all these years, the other gurus are more so-called famous, really, than Prabhupada because they directed people towards them, whereas Prabhupada directed us toward Krishna and was very humble.
Srila Prabhupada gave some wonderful classes. The one I remember the most was a class in the new temple room where Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, among thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, for self-realization. And out of many thousands of such men, only one may know me in truth. And so then Srila Prabhupada looked around at the temple, and the whole temple room was packed, and the whole balcony was packed. I was sitting up in the front of the balcony so I could see clearly. And Srila Prabhupada was looking at all of us, and he said, so does this mean that only a few of you are going to become Krishna conscious and be with Krishna? He said, no, every one of you can be with Krishna. Every one of you can know Krishna in truth. You have come to Krishna after past lives of making progress in spiritual life. But Srila Prabhupada was saying that when we come to Krishna consciousness, we take up where we left off in our past lives. So someone might come and they might struggle with the very simple things, even after years. And someone might come and they might very quickly become a very advanced preacher or have wonderful spiritual realizations right away. And Srila Prabhupada explained that that's because of past development in past lifetimes. But Srila Prabhupada was saying that every one of you can be with Krishna.
Jai.
Prabhupada was coming to Los Angeles. We lived in San Francisco. I went down with Jayananda and would spend a few days in LA while Prabhupada was there. And Prabhupada had the habit, of course, of coming down those stairs and then coming out that side door and then getting into his car and going for a walk. And so the devotees would kind of hang out there just so they could get a glimpse of Prabhupada walking to the car. So I got there early one day. I wanted to be right there in front and see Prabhupada. I was there, nobody else was coming. It was cold, and I was scantily dressed, just my dhoti and no shoes. And so I'm thinking, where is everybody? This is going to be fantastic. Prabhupada can't miss me. I'll be the only one here. He's going to come out and go on his walk. This is going to be so far out. But it started getting later and getting close to class time. I'm waiting out here. I'm not even going to get in the temple room, basically. So I finally think that, well, Prabhupada's not coming. I got to get over and get into the temple for class. So I start making my way in to the temple, and it's like packed. And Donavir comes over to me and he says, do you want to put sandalwood pulp on Prabhupada's forehead? And I said, sure I do. So that got me right into the temple. So Prabhupada comes in and he greets the deities and sits down. And I guess somebody urged me, okay, now it's time to do that. So I got up there and stood in front of the Vyasasan, and Prabhupada leaned forward, and I put the sandalwood pulp on his forehead. And all I could remember was like sticking my hand in a wall socket or something like that. It was just like, it was electrifying. I don't know why. It was probably just all in my mind that this is Prabhupada and this is just really special. That was a special incident. And that was all. I just sat down and listened to class after that.
One time, Rameshwar Prabhu called us all into the
thought that the written
What happened here? Yes.
About 2 or 3 inches from my face, and all my pride in trying to please him by my nice chanting was just totally shattered. What I understood from that is that one shouldn't make a show of their chanting in front of the spiritual master. You're supposed to chant on the side, not showing off, chanting for your own purification and calling out to Krishna to please engage us in his service, but especially not to make a show of our chanting.
Mahaprabhu, they have already taken 1.5 lakh from me.
Now Gopal Krishna in India requested that BBT give him a loan of $160,000. In India, just this during the Mayapur festival, he requested a loan from a US BBT for $160,000, which would be used to construct the second residence building.
So how will pay back?
His plan was that the American temples would purchase rooms, and over a period of 4 or 5 years, they would pay that money back. So is that still approved by you, by your divine grace?
Yes, I know that.
The only thing is that we will have to delay the loan, because for the next 3 months, all our money will be used to print these 17 books.
Costable books, then loan. However, we cannot hold up printing, that is not possible. This you must always keep in view. We are not going to, the surplus money we are going to pay. Not that at the cost of stopping printing. You must always keep it. When you require money for printing, there is no question of loan at temple business. This will be our.
I had written an article for Back to Godhead magazine about how we're not the body, very basic philosophy. And the editor
This is Vishaka speaking.
thought that the written part of the article was fine. They didn't have a problem with that. But they questioned my illustration for it because I more or less dissected the human body into different parts, the head, the chest, the legs, the arms, and tried to point out how we're not these different parts. And the editors felt it was too anatomical, and they didn't really want to use it. But they thought that since Srila Prabhupada was there at the time in Los Angeles, I should ask him his opinion. So I went up to Prabhupada's room with a mock-up of the article showing the illustrations, and I explained to him the concept. And I didn't get the answer that I was looking for, either yay or nay, but I got something far more valuable, because I saw that although Prabhupada had thousands of disciples and dozens of temples all over the world, so many responsibilities, he gave his full undivided attention to this one teeny tiny little disciple and the teeny tiny little article, 3 or 4 page article. It was like nothing else existed for those few minutes. He was fully present to this question that I was asking, and he was unhurried. He was not going to make a quick decision, but he really looked at the illustrations and thought about it. And on top of that, he was very thorough. He felt he couldn't make a decision about the graphics without also reading the text that went with the graphics. So it was a great lesson for me in terms of making decisions in Krishna consciousness. It's not a snap decision, but it is a meditation to see Prabhupada's mindfulness and his presence and his focus and his thoroughness and his thoughtfulness, even for a small question that's put before him.
Okay, Prabhus, we're here at 10 o'clock. Rupa, I think.
But there's no picture of me.
Yeah, I don't know. Your picture of you did not come up. I don't know where it went. So I'll have to rewatch the video and then find it over.
That was an amazing video. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you liked it, huh? Amazing, right?
I really liked the part where Prabhupada was talking to Rameshwar, and it actually was footage of him speaking live. And the look in his eyes when he was saying, first books, then loan.
Yeah. He was really pushing for the Chaitanya Charitamrita to be published, and he had no other concern, no building, no nothing, just print my books, right? He was working very hard to translate all the books, right? Okay, Prabhus. Narayan Prabhu will find that video and I will share it with you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhus. Hare Krishna.
Maybe it's somebody else.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhus. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada.